Well, welcome to this special nightly healing and wholeness meditation time. I am the Empress AliNICOLE. Very grateful to be in this space with you. I'm going to invite everyone to take 3 nice deep breaths, please. So this would be a time where you are entering into your wholeness sanctuary. And the core theme that is coming up right now is about resting. Resting in the knowing that all is well and you are already whole. And I know for some of you, you're probably thinking, all really doesn't appear to be well, and you certainly don't feel whole. And it's very understandable, especially when you're looking out at the contrast within the world, or even maybe your current circumstances, or someone else that's near and dear to you that you're really concerned about. But this is a time where you can step into the space of, if you want to call it, optimism. And a higher ground for greater faith. But I'm actually going to invite you to shift your awareness into the trust zone and trust the process of your life and your evolution. And truly trust that all is well and you are already whole. One of the old hymns that's coming to mind is "It is well with my soul." So we need to rest in the knowing that our soul has come here for a greater purpose. And it knows that everything within our life experience is here for a reason, often preparing us for greater expansion. And we discover that we are more resilient than we can ever imagine. And especially during the times of what appears to be long suffering. Healing and wholeness is very layered. And I believe that each experience that we have, especially when it seems that it's just a continuation of what's going on for far too long. The greater invitation really is for us to understand that each aspect of the journey wants to give way to birth another aspect of the journey. There's gift and wisdom contained within each and every experience that we have. Always something to learn. But there's always something to look forward to. And I strongly believe that during the times when we really feel that we need a breakthrough in our well-being, is really that time that we are being invited to take notice, to notice something about life that we haven't seen before. That's always there, always present, but we're not fully aware and awake to what that experience contains. And I'm reminded about the story of Ezekiel when he was taken back to the river bank, and the angel or the man, in some translations, it says, Son of man, have you seen this? Or Son of man, take a second look. And Ezekiel saw things at that river that he hadn't seen before, that had always been there. 2 trees that he didn't have the expanded awareness to see at one point. But after his faith was measured out continuously over his journey, he could return to the same place and see with new eyes things he had never seen before. And I believe that when we are going through challenges or health crisis or different scenarios, that it's the opportunity to take a second look, to know that it is really well with our souls, and to see that the opportunities for resting in that state of well-beingness and wholeness, it already exists. And sometimes we do have to be more in tune to find a greater alignment with that which we already think we know or have known or currently experiencing. There is always something else present that wants to now be illuminated to us, that invites us to feel more into the sacredness of who we are, who Source created us to be. Let's breathe into that. Hmm. And though it can be hard to imagine, again, depending on what's going on with you, that it is well, and that you are whole. But the truth of the matter is you are whole, because wholeness is a state of beingness. It is a state of existence. It is a state of mind. And it is a place that we can go to at any given time, because we can access that within ourselves. But what tends to happen is that it reveals different levels and layers of that context. And as Hippocrates would say that, you know, healing can be a matter of time, but it also can be a matter of opportunity. So we have to be in tune to know, is this a matter of time, or is it a matter of opportunity, or is it both? And then even within that context, we have to expand the awareness around that time. What exactly does time mean? Because time can be illusionary in nature at times. And what form of timing is it? Just as in God's time, 1,000 years can be one day, and one day 1,000 years. So we have to be present with what is timing on the spectrum that we're on as it relates to the healing. And when it comes to the opportunities are often what we have to create versus waiting on experiences to come to us. So we have to use the discernment. The opportunity, is the opportunity one I'm creating, or is it one that I am being present with and waiting for that opportunity to emerge? Or is it a series, a combination of both? So it's just something to think about. And even as I'm thinking about this, for myself, as I'm sitting here, being here in the receptive mode, to be able to render this experience, the opportunity for my own continual up-leveling and well-being, the opportunity for me to look at my role and my calling, which, as most know, is on multiple levels, but when I'm in this position here, in the role of facilitating healer, and always the opportunity to look again at that calling. What is there now to see about that context that is present that I hadn't seen a certain level before? So going back to what I said before about invitations to take notice of things that are already there that we need to become more aware of. And I strongly believe that this puts us in that place of being able to rest in the all is wellness and to know that wholeness is always available, but it's just what parts are we participating in, during this time. So let's take 5 deep breaths, please. So let's just be with this for just a moment. Resting in the certainty of all is well, and you are already whole. That provides such certainty in the present moment. Going back to the trust factor, the trust zone, certainly provides a new context to come from in terms of kind of reverse engineering your well-being with. And that's important. Thinking with the end in mind, even though there is no end in a sense, because wholeness is a continuation. And healing is ongoing because healing is not just about some imbalance or something being off and trying to achieve a certain state of well-being. I believe that just the continual maintenance of our health is a form of consistent healing. And that may not really make a lot of sense because, like, well, no, in order to heal, something has to be broken or something has to be off. You don't really put healing in the category of sustainability and optimum well-being. But healing can also be more of a preventive aspect, I believe, in this newer format. Because sometimes we're healing things that we aren't even aware of that we are healing. It's certainly not a linear process. Sometimes we have things within our mind. Sometimes there are some undercurrent scenarios that are happening that we aren't aware of. And sometimes we'll be guided to participate in our well-being a certain way, and not knowing that we actually may be healing something that we aren't aware of that could be off, but also even preventing something that we aren't aware of that we're actually preventing. So again, I believe this is where it comes in that format of the greater faith in place of optimism, in a sense, to just trust that your well-being is always ensuing, and wholeness is always available. And it's experiences like these, being in this moment, where we're reminded that we can create the opportunity for the expansiveness of our well-being and hope. So as you're invited to be present with your wholeness sanctuary, this is where you get to enter into the chambers of your own well-being. That's your true source connection. So let's be present in that space right now. So how does that feel? Just being in the knowingness of this. That's part of the resting. Surrendering into this moment where you're just allowing that truth to be present. What does that look like? What do you know? Because again, the core theme was resting in the knowing, that all is well and you are whole. And even if you don't really feel that it is well with your soul, please know that it is very much well with your soul. The soul's outlook and perspective is very different than ours. And that is where your resiliency comes in, actually. It's from that deeper soul level, the core of who you are. Very much aware of the process and the journey that you're on, and even why you are, in some regards, seem to be enduring, or just being presented with whatever area that doesn't seem like wholeness there. And for some of you, what you'll discover is that you all are healers. And maybe it's time to answer that call. That the greater awakening or awareness is not just to heal yourself so that you are just healed of whatever the scenario is what do you do with the journey that you've had? And some of you have never even considered answering the call to be a healer. Being able to help someone else, even a complete stranger who maybe is experiencing what you're experiencing, or even if not, if this is just a journey of discovering new ways of optimum living and well-being, who else can benefit from that? Think about that. There's always a reasoning why things are persisting. Could be because you are resistant, but even if not, what do you need to take notice? What do you need to take a second look at? And also, things that we think that need to be healed, you have to ask ourselves the question, does it really? Or is it part of an illusion? Part of a created scenario that keeps producing confirmation biases to make you believe that you're still broken, or something's, has an imbalance. So there are a lot of things to really think about. And so what I want you to continue to meditate on is that premise of all is well and you are already whole. You can ask for evidence of this. Where am I already whole? Where's the well-being already flowing and presenting itself to me that maybe I'm not really aware or as aware as I could be? What do I need to take a second look at as it relates to my scenario? What do I need to take a second look at as it relates to my well-being or what I should be doing with the experiences that I've had to share with other people? So there's a lot to consider, but everyone has unique individual situations. So that's why you would have to take time out to be present. And what this space, once again, is doing is being a trigger and a prompt for you to think about these things. And the space is open here of entering you to that sanctuary of the truth of who you are in wholeness. Mm-hmm. So let's keep continuing to rest in this knowingness and allow the space to be here for you to embrace and embody that truth. So let's do some more deep breathing. Let's get a breathe about 7 deep breaths. And if you feel guided to take more deep breaths, continue in the deep breathing process. Know everyone's rhythm of breathing is different. So at this moment, I want you to Relax as best as you can. Call forth in your mind a time when you felt that all was well and you truly felt whole, as whole as you could be. And if you never felt that way, then I want you to imagine what that could look and feel like. And who would you be within that experience? And for those of you that can recall times of feeling like all is well, and you really felt as whole as you could be, just imagine if that was a 10x experience. Hmm. And even though that may be a huge stretch, for some, they're just getting into it. If you could feel within the vibration, um, what that did feel like at that time, or certain season in your life, and then just maybe turn it up a notch, and then continue to turn it up a notch. Because you really are here to have that 10x experience, 10x and beyond. But it can come in increments. When I think about the miracles that happen within the Bible, and people were able to activate their faith in their inner healing sanctuaries, and that's why Jesus said, your faith has made you whole, it's made you well. They had those 10x and beyond experiences. And why is it that some could have that and some didn't have it? I wouldn't say they couldn't have it, but they didn't. So it's something solely dependent upon them, their faith, their awareness, and their trust. But also their knowingness. And when we think about the lady with the issue of blood, she had a knowingness. She said, I know if I could just touch the hem of his garment, I will be made whole. She knew what would produce that wholeness for her. She was aware. And think about it, she had endured this long suffering. But that really didn't matter when she had that moment of knowingness, that knowing that all is well, and knowing the truth of her wholeness to the point she could self-prescribe. I just need to touch his hem. He doesn't even have to come lay hands on me, speak a word, even acknowledge me. If I could just get to that hem, I've already been to the lowest point in life. I can get a little lower to touch that hem, and maybe he won't notice, but I know what's going to make me whole and well. That is true with all of us. We have that knowing. And we need to rest in that tonight. Rest in the knowing that all is well. And you are already whole. So take 3 more nice deep breaths, please. and send you away with many blessings, lots of love. And just rest in that knowing that all is really well. And ultimately, you are whole.